many of you may know, and many of you may not actually care, but Jimmy Dore has been pushing this whole thing that the Ukrainians deserve what's happening to them because the Azov battalion back in 2013 had some Nazis in it, allegedly. And these alleged Nazis, who apparently are, all 27 of them or whatever it was, who've all been broomed, all their existence alone justifies Russia's attack. Because the whole NATO expansion narrative torched itself.
So America's the most propagandized country in the world, and you're...
Says a guy who literally deals in propaganda. It's the most propagandized country in the world, and yet we have free and open internet. And yet this motherfucker is on 3 sites. And yet, if you want to listen and watch anything on RT, you can go on the internet anytime you want, go to RT.com and watch anything from there. But we're the most propagandized country in the whole world. Says a guy who has never, insofar as I know, set foot outside this fucking country, that into a place that isn't either Tijuana, Canada, or the Virgin Islands. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's a fucking globetrotter. Maybe we're gonna see a bunch of pictures of Jimmy in Africa, in Kenya, or visiting the Congo and looking into the civil war there, or I don't know, like the dozens upon dozens upon dozens of videos and pictures that I have of myself in China, for fuck's sake, where I actually, to shoot my show, had to have a fucking meeting with the propaganda minister. But please, yeah, go ahead. Tell us all about it.
Witnessing it right now. If you wondered how Hitler happened...
Yeah, if you wonder how Hitler happened, it was it was basically like this shit, except in a beer hall.
You don't have to wonder anymore, because now we have a bunch of people in Manhattan chanting for the Nazi brigade inside the Ukraine military called the Azov battalion. Now, and
by the way, they're not Nazis. They aren't, but that's
showed you that. So there's no doubt that there's not just a handful of Nazis in Ukraine, right? So
yeah, there is.
They're interwoven into the government.
No, they aren't.
They are the ones who staged that. They helped. They were integral in staging. Integral.
Fuck. Oh, I didn't realize Kurt was there, hidden behind a graphic. God damn it. How do people stand being a digital guest on this fucking show? It's such a dick move.
Or integral. I don't know. Of the 2014 coup in Ukraine.
No, they aren't. They even said they weren't. They were 9% of the crowd that was there in their own estimation, but they said they were 100% of the success. That sounds like somebody who doesn't have to throw their arm out of the socket, patting themselves on the back.
The Nazis. Now the Nazis have been the official Nazi slogan is now the official slogan of the Ukraine military, and
it is Deutschland über alles.
Well, I'll show you this. The neo-Nazi group is organizing on Facebook despite a year ban. So just to let you know, this isn't made up.
From 2019, neo-Nazis in the far right are on the march in Ukraine. Yeah, this is the same fuckers that showed up at Charlotte. What's your point?
Neo-Nazis in the far right are on the march in Ukraine. 5 years after the Maidan uprising, anti-Semitism and fascist-inflected ultranationalism are rampant. That's from 2019.
Yes, from The Nation, who was also teeing up the idea that that Ukraine deserves it, and Russia had a duty to invade Ukraine. Nice work, Nation.
Here's another one. It says Ukraine's Nazi problem is real, even if Putin's denazification claim isn't. In NBC News, that's from March of this year. Not acknowledging this threat means that little is being done to guard against it. And there they are.
And there they are. Look at them. Hold on. Shall we look this shit up? Give me 1 second. Let's see. What's the title on this guy? Ukraine's neo-Nazi It has a big picture of the guy that the problem is real. Even if, okay, we'll look up that. This is NBC News. This is March 5th, 2022. This is the article that he's showing. Give me 1 second. We'll take this in here, and I'll go to Safari real quick, and we'll pop over there. And that's this article right here. That's what he brought up. Politics and Policy by Alan Rip, principal of Rip Media. Ukraine veterans of the Azov Battalion formed by a white supremacist and banned from receiving U.S. aid attend a rally in Kiev in 2020. Same picture that Jimmy was using. Of the many distortions manufactured by Putin to justify Russia's assault on Ukraine, perhaps the most bizarre is his claim that the actions there to denazify the country his leadership in making his case for entering his neighbor's territory with armored tanks and fighter jets. Putin has stated that the move was undertaken to protect people who have been subjected to bullying and genocide, and that Russia will strive for the demilitarization and denazification of Ukraine. On its face, Putin's smear is absurd, not the least because Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky is Jewish and has said that members of his family were killed during World War II. That's an interesting way of phrasing it. Has said that. There is also no evidence of recent mass killings or ethnic purges taking place in Ukraine. Moreover, labeling enemies Nazis is a common ploy in Russia, especially from a leader who favors disinformation campaign and wants to stir up feelings of national vengeance against a World War II foe to justify conquest. But even though Putin is engaging in propaganda, it's true that Ukraine has a genuine Nazi problem, both past and present. Putin's destructive actions, among them the devastation of Jewish communities, make clear that he's lying when he says his goal to his jury. But it's important to defend the yellow and blue flag against the Kremlin's brutal aggression. It would be dangerous oversight to deny Ukraine's anti-Semitic history in collaboration with Hitler's Nazis, as well as latter-day embrace of neo-Nazi factions in some quarters. Here it is. Okay. On the eve of World War II, okay, this is World War II. This is Babin Yar Ravine, continued to fill up with mass graves for 2 years. As many of the 100,000 murders there became the largest single killing site of Holocaust outside. Yes, that's when the fucking Soviets ran the space. As an independent country, this has nothing to do with Ukraine. Nowadays, Ukraine counts between 56,000 and 140,000 Jews who enjoy freedoms and protections never imagined by their grandparents. Let me read that again. Nowadays, Ukraine counts between 56,000 and 140,000 Jews who enjoy freedoms and protections never imagined by their grandparents. That includes an updated law passed last month criminalizing anti-Semitic acts. Unfortunately, the law was intended to address a pronounced uptick in public displays of bigotry, including swastika-laden vandalism of synagogues and Jewish memorials, and eerie marches in Kiev and other cities that celebrated the Waffen SS. By the way, this is another example of like Russian-speaking people doing these marches, and they're like, this is happening in Ukraine, these must be Ukrainians. In an ominous development, Ukraine in recent years erected a glut of statues honoring Ukrainian nationalists. That's the statue we were talking about of Stefan Bandera. Another frequent honoree is Roman Shiguyich. Okay, again, these are World War II, like, people who fought back against the Soviets, or the Nazis, for the Nazis against the Soviets in a war between the two. Just as disturbing, here you go. Neo-Nazis are part of some of Ukraine's growing ranks of volunteer battalions. They are battle-hardened after waging some of the toughest street fighting against Moscow-backed separatists in eastern Ukraine following Putin's Crimea invasion in 2014. One is the Azov Battalion. This is the one he's always hitting. Founded by an avowed white supremacist who claimed Ukraine's national purpose was to rid the country of Jews and inferior races. In 2018, the Congress stipulated that its aid to Ukraine couldn't be used to provide arms or training or assistance to them. Even so, Azov is now an official member of the Ukrainian National Guard. Even so, that they were absorbed into it, and the laws of the nation apply to the ones that are absorbed into the military. So the Azov Battalion that exists now is not the same Azov Battalion that was created before. For sure, none of this disturbing context justifies the misery that has befallen Ukrainians over the past several weeks, and it's unlikely that Putin was motivated by any of it when he launched his invasion. Indeed, thanks to Putin, Jews living in Odessa, Kharkiv, and other eastern cities are under extreme duress. That's a lovely word for it. While many have taken refuge in local synagogues and Jewish centers, others have fled to foreign countries, including Israel, which urged all Jews to leave Ukraine. Let's see, even some of the... Okay, so this is basically this guy chatting about the World War II history and the possibility that there are a bunch of, the same kind of crowd... Hold on. That we had in Charlotte exists in uh, in Ukraine. Again, to justify that, ultimately, that guy's like, this doesn't justify the action. Jimmy Dore believes it does.
This NBC News is even telling people this. Winning hearts in PR war, but Ukraine has a Nazi problem that NATO and USA do not talk about. The cartel of Western nations, who is otherwise swift and prompt.
Also, by the way, the Azov Battalion is down near the Mariupol area. They're not in the rest of the fucking country. They're very specifically located. So the rest of the country deserves it because these assholes are in the south. This is silly.
In condemning anti-Semitism, look the other way, nay, openly arm and encourage fascist groups with neo-Nazi leanings, if that helps them in thwarting their opponents and reasserting their hegemony. There they are.
They're reasserting their hegemony. Okay,
here's another one. There they are. This is the neo-Nazi problem in Ukraine. Is this a Russian problem?
Yeah, that's Ryan Knight putting up. And those are definitely Ukraine soldiers, definitely proud of this. This isn't something that Russian soldiers brought with them for part of this fucking story. All right, hold on. This freezes up when I do this.
In 2018. He says, ever since the Orange Revolution began under President Bush, the U.S. has been complicit in the rehabilitation and spread of neo-Nazis in Ukraine. Enough is enough. Our government must stand up to the Azov Battalion, and other fascist groups.
And in 2018. And since then, by the way, the government under Zelensky, when he was elected in anybody? 2019, passed laws dealing with this specifically.
That's what he used to say in 2018.
Right, in 2018, a year before Zelensky was elected to office, a year before they elected a Jew to be their president.
But now Ro Khanna wants to run for president, and so he's for arming these same people he called fascists and said we used to have to stand up to them. He's totally turned because he's a tool of empire. That's who Ro Khanna really is, and he pretends he's a progressive to get you to vote for him.
Yes, by the way, this is Jimmy. This is Jimmy's equivalent of the rhino whining you hear from Marjorie Taylor Greene and that shit. I'm waiting for him to drop the whole the U.S. has no business helping these people when we do so much damage in Yemen part.
You know what I can't wait for? When in the future this arming them is very successful and then they do something and we have to go now fight the Nazis.
We got to fight the Nazis.
It'll be back to, these bad Nazis.
Yeah, Kurt thinks it's going to be like Al-Qaeda, ISIS.
So why do I
because Kurt's dumb.
show you all this? I show you all this because
you want us to be okay with Putin bombing citizens? This
happened in Manhattan just this weekend, right? So this is from April 23rd. You want to hear what they're chanting? Sounds to me like they're chanting Azov. Azov, right? And there's all the Ukraine flags because you're a good virtue signaler.
Are those Ukrainians?
But not only Azov. National Guard, Національна гвардія України також.
He said not only Azov, National Guard, right? So the National Guard infiltrated with Nazis.
Yeah, that's what it means. So you guys, all these, by the way, these are all neo-Nazis in New York. Apparently, there are technically, according to Jimmy, more people cheering neo-Nazis in this small square in New York City right here than there are neo-Nazis in all of Ukraine, but we should still bomb them.
Батальйони морської піхоти. Люди, взагалі люди у Маріуполі.
I love what Black in the Empire says. He says, still amazed at how good the establishment is getting. They got people to attack protesting truckers by calling them Nazis and then got them to support arming actual Nazis in a matter of days.
Yeah, this is where Jimmy calls himself a comedian because he steals other people's jokes and acts like they're his. Basically, this is just free writing. I mean, I suppose it's some sort of co-op. I feel weird sitting in front of him. This is weird. I gotta move over here or something. This is creeping me out. Hold on. Okay. There we go. And we'll go over here. All right. I'm just going to be sitting between him and the graphics so you guys can see it.
So that's how willing dupes you are if you are going along with the NATO defense of Ukraine. Because there's only two ways that this Ukraine...
Oh, the NATO defense of Ukraine. This is a Putin talking point. This is straight up. That, you know, you're not fighting Ukraine, you're fighting NATO. It's a proxy war. And these aren't, you know, the Ukrainians wouldn't even fight for their own country. They're a bunch of Nazis.
War is going to end. We negotiate with Putin and give him a way out.
Why? What's the who's doing the negotiating? First of all, the first time they had a peace negotiation, Russia poisoned 3 of the people that were there. Every time they have come to the table, what they have come to is we want all the west of the entire western portion of the country, or eastern portion of the country rather. We want the east and the south all the way through here. What kind of negotiation is that? We will keep invading you until you just give us what we want. So lay down your arms and just take it. What's the negotiation? What do we give them, Jimmy? Go ahead. Tell us all, for fuck's sake. Tell us all what the Ukrainians need to give up so Vladimir Putin stops murdering civilians.
That's it.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, just negotiate with them. What are we negotiating with? The lives and freedoms of everyone in Ukraine in exchange for what?
Or Putin totally takes over Ukraine and crushes the people.
Not gonna fucking happen. The idiocy of this. Like, if this sounds like a take that somebody would say before this shit started. This is not happening. That's not going to occur. And again, Jimmy has adopted the best way to handle a rape is lay back and take it. God put you in this position, and therefore you should just accept it. Because, you know, this is gross. And again, if this take was from before the battle started and Russia started getting its ass handed to it, it would almost make sense. What do you think they're going to do? Like, look, okay, if you guys stop sinking Putin's battleships, he'll stop fighting. Like, what is this?
Those are the only two. That's it. Unless you want to have World War III. I guess there's 3 ways.
Oh, I see. So we sacrifice Ukraine so that we don't have to have World War III is the idea. Sorry, guys. You just got to take one for the team. And, of course, we'll all trust that that's where Putin stops. He's not going in. I know he said he's going into Moldova. He said he's going into Lithuania. He said he's going into Latvia. He said he's going to attack Finland and Sweden if they join NATO. But, you know, he doesn't really mean it. Just give him Ukraine and he'll stop. Because he's a fucking toddler, apparently.
But so saying World War III is not an option. Some people are saying it is. Let's say it's not. There's only two ways this can end.
No, there is another way this ends. The Ukrainians, supplied with military arms given to them by surrounding neighboring countries, fight this battle on their own and wipe the fucking floor with the Russians, which creates a power vacuum inside their government that leads to either Putin stepping down, moving off, or having to restructure everything about it while his economy collapses.
Well, also we can just make sure it drags out so Putin gets bogged down and a bunch of people there just fucking die, but it'll be worth it so that jerk doesn't have the satisfaction.
Right.
What do you mean? You think he's going to let him live?
It's already
worth
happening.
all those Ukrainians dying for a thing that should be ended.
So there they are chanting for Nazis in Manhattan. Like it's
No, they're chanting for the Azov Battalion, which is trapped in Mariupol and has been holding that factory and the civilians that are still in there. That's why they're chanting. They're not chanting for Nazis. He's a fucking liar. This is gross.
Well, that guy had a Ukrainian accent, so that's got to be a lot of Ukrainians. You know?
Yeah, all the other Nazis all the Ukrainians, who have family in fucking Ukraine, who are currently there now, or may live in the United States and have, or fled from there to live with relatives when this shit started or whatever. Yeah, but there's so many Nazis in Ukraine that these people can't help but have a rally.
Yeah, I don't know. That guy certainly had an accent, for sure.
Well, this is the kind of astute political journalism you will find on the Jimmy Dore Show.
Okay. Where are we going? Kansas City, Omaha?
Oh, fuck. That's it? Okay. So, he didn't even get into it. Okay. One of the arguments, and point of privilege, Mr. Chairman, that Pert Metzger right here threw up there was that we're going to arm the Nazis and then we're going to have to fight the Nazis to get rid of the Nazis and that kind of shit. That and I don't know why he thinks we're going to have to fight the Nazis, because apparently the entire world of all races are now cheering Nazis, which is kind of destroys the idea of being a Nazi. If I was a Nazi, I'd be very upset that I would be being cheered on by Jews and Ro Khanna and people like, maybe I'm shooting the wrong people. But Jimmy is often talking about how the U.S. has no business being in Yemen. Right? No business in Yemen. You guys have heard this before. That we're part of a slaughter. That this is just Raytheon and all these people destroying, fighting in, lobbing missiles into Yemen, into the Houthi-controlled areas. Right? We've heard this a bunch. Okay. Let me introduce you, ladies and gentlemen, if I might. And before I do this, can I make abundantly clear that I do not support the abject lobbing of missiles into civilian areas of any sort. I don't believe we should support the Saudis in their own territorial disputes. That's a geopolitical matter. But at the baseline, if Jimmy thinks that the flags that people are currently using for the Azov, or that people are cheering it in New York City, is an indication that Nazis from 2014, who make up like 10% of 10% of 10% of one group that's been purging them for years. Boy, is he going to be upset when he sees who he's been defending in Yemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present to you the Houthi rebels in Yemen. Yeah, that's exactly what you think it is. These guys all get together and they do the Nazi salute and they say, death to America, death to Israel, curse the Jews, just for good measure, and Allahu Akbar. Then they go, God is great. And apparently, and this is, by the way, I'm sure you're thinking that, Hal, this has got to be from 2014, back when the Azov Battalion was, or maybe even 2018, before Zelensky was elected, perhaps. No, this is from April of last year. Yep, there they are. Now, ladies and gentlemen, do any of you think that if the Saudis started going, we need to denazify Yemen, and just lined up a bunch of tanks and drove into the Houthi-controlled territories in northern Yemen, do you think Jimmy and his ilk and Max Blumenthal and Aaron Mate and all those fuckers would say, well, yeah, I mean, look at them. You got to go in there. The Saudis have got to go into northern Yemen. Not because of 9 guys ago. Not because, This leader had this leader, had this leader, had this leader, had this leader, and that guy was a Nazi sympathizer in the fucking 40s. Right? This is last year. Now, do you think Jimmy and Kurt have seen this? I bet they have. I hate Yemenis neo-Nazis. Yeah, they're the worst. They're worse than Chicago Nazis. Let me, if I may, point of order, Mr. Chairman. Let me move this over here. By the way, you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a message. I'm singing tonight at the Whiskey in West Hollywood here in Los Angeles, in a benefit for Ukraine. And then tomorrow night, my band Nerd Halen is at the Viper Room, right across the street and down the way, performing a whole set. Very exciting, with ACK, the All Ace Frehley cover band, playing with us. And then there's going to be a jam afterwards, and yours truly will be doing an extra song there. I'm doing Detroit Rock City, and I'm hoping they let me sing the Australian notes, and only Kiss fans know what I'm talking about. Now, oh, the flechettes thing. Yeah, the Russians are using flechettes in, let's see. Videos. Yeah, lest you think, hold on. Let me bring this up in here. Yeah, here you go. May I? This is, you're like, this, you know what? Guys, this is a bunch of dirty dudes standing out in a field. These aren't, hold on. Let me go back. Jimmy, that was unfair of me. Obviously, Jimmy. You've been backing the Houthis for a long time, saying America has no right to bomb these folks. Russia has every right to strafe bomb and attack Ukraine because it's full of Nazis. But America and the Saudis, anybody has no business fighting with Yemen at all. And all I did was show a bunch of dudes in, dirty outfits standing in the street. Now, granted, they were military outfits and they all matched, but still, that's not fair. It's probably just a bunch of rabble doing this. I would imagine the upper echelon of the Houthis. Oh, shit. Ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that's the Houthi military. Yeah. Bye. Thank you. Yes, and then they say, death to Israel, death to America, curse the Jews. I like wearing that kind of thing. In full dress. I thought it was nice of them to do it in full dress, don't you? And I'm sure, Jimmy, if you'll be happy to know, military-industrial complex and the establishment, you guys have free reign to I guess, nuke Yemen into oblivion now, according to Jimmy Dore. Because if 9 dudes in the Azov battalion are enough to excuse all of Putin's actions in Ukraine, then surely the entirety of the upper ranks of the Houthi military would justify, right? No? Because how many times has this motherfucker told us that America has no right to even discuss what's going on in Ukraine, considering what we are doing in Yemen? That's what he says all the fucking time. That's Yemen. Apparently, it's okay now. Congratulations, everyone. Jimmy has given us permission to I guess, carpet bomb, starve, and torture the people of northern Yemen because this is the main qualifier. And they outnumber the Ukrainian Nazis by a whole hell of a lot. Now, granted, these guys are Nazis in kind of the enemy of my enemy is my friend idea because they hate Israel and they hate Jews so much. And the idea is that, They like the cut of Hitler's jib. By the way, because of who he doesn't like. Now, also, there was another thing I wanted to show you that I know the other thing he brings up is Syria, right? How many times, has Jimmy brought up that we have no right, let's see, hold on, Hitler stamps, there we go, whoops, 1 second. Yeah, there you go. And granted, I know what you're thinking. Remember how Jimmy loves to talk about the fact that America lied, and the military and everybody lied about the chemical attacks, and that that the Assad government did it. It was the rebels did it to themselves. But the Syrian government are the good guys, and Russia's backing of the Syrian government is completely above board and lovely. And there is nothing in we have no business there. Well, and I guess technically we are, we're the villains in this. Unless if you use the Jimmy Dore standard, unless you can find a little bit of Nazi in the country. If you can find a little bit, how much do you think it would take? What do you think, like let's say the capital of Syria is Damascus, right? So if you went to Damascus and you could find a little bit of stuff, hang on. Oh shit. Swastikas in Damascus. Syria, under the Assads, has long harbored a soft spot for Nazism. The revolution is changing that. Well, the revolution that he put down, by the way. This is 2021. Yeah, those are Syrian stamps for sale in Beirut. Yeah. They're collector's items. A new death notice appeared in a Lebanese village north of Beirut last September, glued to a public wall. As residents of the village went about their days, some of them probably stopped, out of habit, to read the name of the man who had recently died. It would have been a scene repeated every day in Syrian and Lebanese villages. Those who didn't know the deceased proceeded to peruse the names of his surviving family members to find out whether condolences were in order. There was more to this particular death notice, however, than the news of the death itself. People took pictures of it and posted it on social media, where it immediately went viral. Incredulous, people read the names of the deceased man, written in big bold font in the center of the poster: Hitler Zakaya Basil. Not much was shared about Mr. Basil himself, but the names of his sons, Adolf and Addie, hinted at something of a family tradition. I was aghast when a photo of the poster reached me via WhatsApp from a friend looking for a laugh. I spent my life between Aleppo, Damascus, and Beirut before moving to Paris a year ago. I've encountered countless such anecdotes, which seem to be the haphazard leftovers of some combination of enduring government propaganda and a lack of actual World War II and Holocaust education. Despite the rejection of the ideology by the vast majority of the population in Syria and Lebanon, that's not going to get you out of there. The vast majority of the people in Ukraine are against this stuff, but look, they deserve po. Symbols associated with Nazism were there, out in the open, and having a swastika tattoo or waving a Nazi flag did not land a person in jail or lead to financial penalty. First time I remember seeing a swastika was at the all-boys Presbyterian school I attended for 12 years in Aleppo. Al-Salib al-Makhuf, the hooked cross, was one of the many symbols that boys would mindlessly carve into their desks, scribbles on the walls of a bathroom, or sketch in textbooks. Most of them, I would learn, didn't even know what the symbol meant. Those who did, didn't know much. School management didn't rush to remove these symbols or try to ban them more than they did any other symbol or writing on the wall. Even Syrian school had to provide National Socialist upbringing classes from 7th to 12th grade. We were taught about the immortal leader Hafez al-Assad and the achievements of the leader in the march of development and modernization. His son Bashar al-Assad, their dictatorial regime, has been in power in Syria for 50 years. Two Syrians I spoke with recently, one now in Italy and the other in Lebanon, remember how out of all of Shakespeare's works, The Merchant of Venice was chosen in the Syrian curriculum. They suspected the reason was the play's perceived anti-Semitism. Shylock, the antagonist, is a Jewish moneylender with many of the stereotypes that anti-Semitic people describe to Jews. This is, I guess, technically speaking, if you're using the Jimmy Dore, Kurt Metzger standard, we should be able to just bomb Syria out of existence, kids. I mean, they literally, you have a guy named Hitler who died recently there, who named his kids Adolf and Addie. Only mad because he couldn't have Adolf and Adolf II. By the way, I would like to say that it's only a trick of fate that you don't sing Adolf the Red-Nosed Reindeer at Christmas. I think it was already taken. Rudolph, a much nicer name. But both of them referential Dolphs. Just saying. Yeah. But so the idea, Jimmy, is Kurt? You guys seem confused. There's the Azov. No, that's not the Azov. That's not the Azov. Where's that? Oh, that's in Yemen. And at least there is an O. And that's in Syria, where we're not supposed to be.
And Des Moines, we're going to be there in 2 weeks. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com. Single tickets available.
Yes. They're finding that they can't sell them in groups because Jimmy's his crowd is entirely made up of angry loners.
Anything else you got to say about this, Kurt?
Yeah, tell us, Kurt. Tell us.
I guess. So Azov battalion's all right. I guess I looked at him. I guess I looked at him wrong, but I've been seeing a lot of very persuasive flags changing my mind lately.
Yeah, very persuasive things to change your mind recently. Honestly, did these two dumb son of a bitches ever bother to look at anything that might shine a light on the fact that they are talking out of their ass all the fucking time? Yeah, Jimmy's whole entire audience is incels.
Persuasive flags. We're doing live stand-up.
No, you're not. There's no we. Stand-up is a me job. If you're a comedy duo, you're not doing stand-up. Say I'm doing stand-up, but then if you do it, oh, look at this. April 30th, the Jimmy Dore Game Show. Where is this, I suppose? Yeah, they're just moving the show. They're not doing stand-up. They're taking this job around. He intros the own thing by chit-chatting at the beginning and bitching, but they just do this show in comedy clubs. Fuck off with this nonsense. Okay, hold on one second, if I may. I'm just glad I got point of order to be able to show that, because the next time anybody sees Jimmy Dore, and this includes you, Carlos Alazraqui, bless your heart for always going after this prick. The next time he throws this bullshit around that America has no say in this because of what we're doing in Syria and Yemen, I'm sorry. It just you gotta go out, do a quick Google search, grab any of the myriad, the thousands upon thousands of pictures you can find of Yemeni Houthis literally doing the Nazi salute. Not like it kind of looks like their symbol it's got sharp edges. It's got a no. They're full on just doing the Hitler salute, the Sieg Heil, the big smile. And you got to send him a picture of it and go, fuck you. And then if anybody, if he starts talking about Syria, I want to, go send him pictures of the Hitler stamps that are for sale in every market. Yeah, I wonder if any of them have an accent. Good point. I hope not. Ew, right? Clearly they can't be trusted.